Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2 with the former world champion and the rank 1 Terran in the blue from Team Liquid. It's Clem, facing off against literally the only Zerg player to win a single series against him on this patch. And it is just one. The Rocky Zerg in the red. We have Solar in a best of 5 Terran versus Zerg tournament finals of the Pigosaurus Cup number 57. And before we get started, it'd be incredible if you could smash that like button, maybe even subscribe. Help me count the algorithm. And Jimmy, what are we at? Jimmy. 1,743 likes on this video, on this cast, and I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways, because I don't know what else I'd do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully, you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better than Solar, as I thought Clem was just blocking the base and he just missed his opportunity. And that may very well have been the case. Solar slips out and takes the third, but the SCV, the Overlord, was not guaranteed to spot the SCV path. And what he doesn't know can very much hurt him. The map is dark and full of Terrans. That hatchery has not yet progressed into being its best self and doesn't have the vision. The bunker is right on the edge. Clem, I can't tell if it was spiteful or by design. Or maybe, you know, a little bit of both. But instead of trying to block the hatchery, he's just going to try to stop it entirely. I seriously doubt he can kill it, but he's committing the Marines across the map. I don't think Solar spotted this. The Overlord doesn't quite have the vision. Oh no. This could be and he's waiting. That means he wants to just try to kill it. He could have started putting damage on it to try to keep the pressure on, but no, he waits until the hatchery can no longer be canceled, loads up the bunker with that extra range, is going to be able to hit the hatchery, and, well, quite a kerfuffle to start things off. As Solar building Zerglings, he's going to have Zergling speed. The hatchery taking a lot of damage. There's already 3 queens. I don't think he should be able to kill it if Solar wants to stop him, and he seems intent on doing so, but a lot of damage already being done. It's just 3 Marines, a Hellion, and a Reaper. There's more Hellions on the way, but the Zerglings with the surround. The bunker takes out the SCV, takes out some of the Marines, almost gets the Hellion, and most of the offending units, if not all, will be ripped apart for their part in things. But, oh, 2 more Hellions on the way. Gonna roast some more of the Zerglings, but Solar had another couple rounds and is looking for the wraparound. And there's enough Zerglings to potentially take these out. Pins him up, takes out a second Hellion. Great stutter step on those Zerglings as well. But doesn't want to risk anymore. Solar, well, Clem committed to a bunker. He sent multiple Marines. He delayed his Hellions to get here. So we have to ask ourselves, after all that, have you liked and subscribed? And at what cost? Was it worth it? He's able to cauterize the drone headed towards the 4th base in order to block Solar's continued expansion for a few more seconds. But this is the strategy, or the style, that Solar used to defeat Clem, the only Zerg, in anything greater than a best of 1. I mean, fool me once. Gets a second drone. And if you want to see that series, well, wait. All right, you can check last week. I think it's one of those with the mini-map thumbnail, which really is just, look at all this creep. And so far, so good. And welcome back, by the way. 4th base, a bit delayed, but still very much... I think Solar more than happy with this. And even more happy when he's able to rip apart 2 more Hellions for almost free. Waiting until he got a full surround, so good reaction time on Solar to make sure Clem couldn't pull those Hellions back. And so far, despite the cheeky and almost spiteful bunker, I'm going to lean towards spite as opposed to some sort of masterful bait there out of Clem. It felt like he did want to block the base. He's just like, you know what? Some macaroni and cheese, but takes down the rocks down the center. That was a sentence, technically. Cloak Banshees darting in. There is already a lair done, Overseers. And the Banshees shouldn't get too much done, but they're Clem's Banshees, so they almost always do anyways. Gonna knock out a few more drones. And the queens? I mean, this is restricted lair space. Notice the oversee. We got him, Susan. I have a thing. I have to say it. It's game 1. You're weirding people out. Oh, shut up, Brenda. Sorry. 8 drones dead to the Banshees. Solar plummets to an 11-worker lead. Meanwhile, Clem back at home. A second factory and a quick armory on the way. A bit more of a bio-curious start. Going to be adding in drilling claws. This isn't for siege tanks. It's not for hellbats. It's for widow mines. The mass Minecraft gameplay. And you know, with the new patch, you know what people were clamoring for? I was hearing so much. Buff the widow mine. And I didn't even need to hear it. I just knew it. A lot of people were thinking it very loudly. I see a lot of people say, I don't know about the widow mine. What they're really saying is buff the widow mine. And yes, your prayers have been answered. Drilling claws is now 30% more effective, which means it burrows, the widow mines burrow and unburrow more quickly once it's completed. But of course, it's not quite done yet. The first attack coming up, the first couple mines burrowing. There's one at the back, gets a big chunk, forces the pickup. Everything that can't fit inside will be immediately ripped apart, but the sporimeter, as no one calls it, the queen's trying to intercept the medevacs on the way out, but unwilling to commit to the idea. The Marines will be able to drop out. Clem building a 4th command center on location, as well as bringing those hellbats back at the retirement post after all that early harassment. All right, we'll just buy him out and not put him on the credits anymore. Queens, still plenty of energy for transfuse, and the creep spread looking quite good so far. Solar almost halfway across the map, despite the attempts of Clem to drive it back. Actually going straight for the base. He's already softened it up, trying to finish it off. Targeting the hatchery, but instead... Oh, no! Clem went for the heart of the swarm, but instead had a bit of a heart attack there. A classic mistake, but not one you usually see Clem make. Instead of going for the creep or trying to keep Solar at bay, he wanted that hatch. It was definitely spite on that bunker. All right, I'm calling it here. The drop in the center, but that's not nearly far enough to keep the queens and the lings from chasing it down. And Solar at 87 drones. He has a hive on the way, a lurker den, +2 melee attack and carapace in production. Clem is going to have a lead on the 2-2. He's got drilling claws completed. So he's looking very strong for this mid-game push. The Zerglings in position. The Widowmon will take out a chunk, and we're going to play Ring Around the Fortress here for a little bit. The fact that this 4th base is on location is very good for Clem. Being able to hold this down immediately before any threat of lurkers on the field, that means he has a good, stable economy to try to grind down the Zerg before they start overwhelming him. But Solar already he has 90 drones. Not like 80 SCVs or a small economy for Clem, but he has 90 drones. He's working on bases 5 and 6. The Hydras, Lings, and Banes are easily overmatching anything back to defend. Clem a bit out of position, but another army to the south. There's no burrow for Bane mines, and who's flanking who here? Oh, he goes the wrong direction. A few more Banelings are shaved away. Only 4 SCVs dead despite the run-by. And Solar, meanwhile, spreading the creep across the map. The progression continues, but not finding a lot of success, though. Honestly, sometimes the best defense is a good offense. That attack kept most of Clem's army, if not all, back, allowed him to continue spreading the creep out, and Solar's going to have those 6 bases. He's got the lurker den completed. He's getting the hive tech. Which hive tech? Pretty much yes. Everything besides an ultralisk cavern or a great... 8 SCVs dead to just 2 bait. Well, that's about as efficient as it gets. The Banelings roll in, and the SCVs are pulled. Wow, it was almost worse that he microed. I feel like if he hadn't, he would have actually gotten less kills, but you know, sometimes damned if you do. Well, finally clearing up the creep over to the left side. The Zergling counter is optimistic as best, and the Widowmine follows him back across the map. Maximum range. The emotional and physical damage is dramatic. A huge chunk of Zerglings is taken out and replaced immediately. Lurker range is about to complete. Though no lurkers joining it in the production tab, so that will make it less effective. Ghosts already. And Solar, he's held on to all of his bases. But he hasn't done much to slow Clem down, and in fact, getting distracted by the rocks, he knocks out another chunk. The Widow Mine takes out another hearty helping of Zerglings. And Solar, well, he's certainly playing a war of attrition, and he can afford it for now. And Clem looking the other way. The Banelings finally! Splash damage from both sides coating that army. Widowmine gets a big hit on the way out. Definitely not the more surgical dismantling of the minefields. 14 lurkers! Okay, and he pulls back. He cancels some of them. 8 lurkers. That is more reasonable. Solar unwilling to commit to the mass lurkers. If he goes for mass lurkers and they don't get the damage done, he no longer has the mobility to potentially chase down the army. The lurkers can become a liability at that stage. He doesn't have a Nidus. He doesn't have drops. So it would just be a, I'm dunking all my lurkers down right in front of you, and what are you going to do about it? And right now, Clem already has ghosts. So Solar clearly just trying to play that 300 supply Zerg. Here come the lurkers. Picks up some of the ghosts. A few of them torn apart by the Zerglings. Another Widow Mine takes a chunk. Lurkers slice through the command center, just dead. The counterattack, Clem desperately stimming in. It looks like he just, on the mini-map, picks up some of the Marines. The Vipers with full energy as well. No further tech. The Medivacs will chase all the way back to the main. And 3 Marines, just, there'll be 1 survivor. And it appears he's gonna fly to the next map. Or wherever this, what's going on there? Okay, whatever. Meanwhile, Solar winding up for another attack. A huge amount of supply, all down the center. Striking at the heart of Clem. And there's nothing, there's no bunker, there's no mines already burrowed. There's just one off to the right side. He's yanking in the ghosts, which is a dangerous game in and of itself. But better that than getting sniped out of the sky. Yanks a few ghosts into the Hydraslings and Banes. The Blinding Cloud. Clem actually manages to sidestep several of the lurker spines, but another command center will be taken down by the Hydras. The Banelings are zoning out the ghosts. The number of them starting to grow dramatically. Manages to lunge away from several of the snipes. The Changelings, rapid fired down. A single lurker left behind, but these two. There's the Nidus down the center. 2 infestors on the way, as well as Burrow. As Solar clearly looking for alternative options to either go through, under, or over Clem, as facing him directly on the field so far is just getting his face shot off. The Nidus network. Only one of them, which feels like he's not really committing to the idea. We've seen players like Rogue. Okay, just Rogue. Go for 2 or even 3 Nidus networks to try to guarantee getting some damage done. One Nidus just relies on Clem looking the other direction for long enough, which is not exactly the most reliable tactic. As we get further and further into the endgame compositions, it becomes less about actions per minute and more about attention per minute. Though actions per minute is still very much important. Nidus over to the right side, and that reveals, if he didn't know before, Infestor throws out a Fungal. The Widow Mines still able to burrow, thinning out a lot of the Lings and Banes. EMP hits the Viper, and Solar has to tuck his tail, his legs, his wings, and whatever other weird Zerg appendages in behind him and retreat back to the creep. For more of an anatomy lesson, you can check out my Dronely-fans. But up to the north side, Solar trying to expand, and, well, great minds think most alike. Clem, with plenty of army, a Changeling. I think he noticed it, already lined it up. But Clem holding on to 4, and that 5th base down the center. Whereas Solar, there's not that many more bases to work with. There's the bottom left corner and the top right, and that's it. Everything else is very much Clem's to take. It's only those bingo bases in the corners that potentially might put Solar over the top. He has more in the bank, but not so much so he can just throw away endless hordes of Zerglings, Banelings, and Hydras. He's lost 8,000 more resources so far. The Nidus in the bottom left corner. A tactical Nidus to just reinforce like it's the Brood War. Meanwhile, a firing squad of ghosts knock out even more of the Overseers. A Spire is finally on the way. And I don't think it's for Mutas. But instead, Corruptors or maybe even Broodlords. But another volley of snipes comes through. The Ghosts, a few evaporating. But not nearly enough. A Fusion Core has come and gone. He's already completed it. Advanced Ballistics and Caduceus Reactor queued up. The Nidus in the main gonna take out the Overseer. And the Nidus defense team will knock out the Worm in the front. But Solar uses this as cover for the attack down the center. It appears he has enough acid to counter this base, at least for now. Another command center finishes and gets put immediately into the unit's loss tab. Venn diagram of freedom from the Liberators, and the Snipe's gonna throw another line into the Vipers, the Hydras. And again, directly off the map. A Nidus down the center, the Changelings. Yeah, you want a piece of meat, boys? Yeah. No. The Changelings giving vision. Clem clearly aware of it. Solar tried to use whatever opportunity he has when Clem's out of position to find another way to deny bases. But there's 21 ghosts on the field. And enough Liberators to make a ground army think twice, maybe three. You know, it should just keep thinking until it comes up with the idea of air units, in my opinion, at this stage. Lunging forward, and yet another command center will die down the center. The 5th or 6th? Yeah, okay, 3rd. Well, the snipes come out, and Solar is mostly cleared from the field as the ghost ball is rolling back and forth. And right now, Solar just doesn't have the... He needs infestors or some sort of dream engagement to deal with this Katamari Terran. It's just growing in strength as time goes on. He's killed a grand total of 9 ghosts, which is barely a third of the ghosts built in this game so far. At 2 supply apiece, the ghosts not taking up nearly as large of a chunk of the Terran army as they did just a few weeks ago. And Clem very aware of how efficient that could be. Very simply, though, Solar's running out of bases. Alright. Another Nidus in the main. Some burrowed Zerglings potentially providing vision. There's now 6 orbital commands, which is not the overwhelming number that creates the Iron Bank and the ability to scan across the entire map. But it's close. And he's adding more command centers as he's at 200 supply. Yet another Nidus will be worming its way into the natural. And the unit's coming down to defend, but might be a little bit late for once. The Lurkers are able to pop out. And he scans, but that's far too many. Slices through. Meanwhile, based out the center yet again will be taken down. The Ghosts retreating back. Almost getting sniped off by their own Widow Mines. Yanking the Liberators into the Hydras. The Ghosts will cloak. There's no detection to protect the Lurkers. And some of the Ghosts will be incidentally killed by the Lurker fire at the command center, but snipes interrupted by the Fungal. The Hydra's taking out even more Ghosts, and Clem taking some real hits now. Finally deals with the natural. The Ghost using a lot of energy on the cloak. And Solar takes out a base. 20 SCVs. Knocks down the army to 160 supply. But was it enough? He's still mining. Now 2,500 more resources a minute. But he's lost 15,000 more, including 10,000 more minerals and 5,000 more gas. That is unsustainable. But he doesn't need to sustain it forever. He just needs to get to the production and make sure Clem can't build anymore. Unfortunately, the Liberators are more than enough to take out the Hydras. The Cerro Fester a little bit late to the party. And there's no units to follow it up. 14 Corruptors. Well, that's certainly a move. Solar drains his entire bank on 14 Corruptors. Is that enough? And is it worth it? Or is the Congress of Corruptors going to prove to be quite a misallocation of the budget? The Infestor just pops up. Why are you here? Oh no, the Widowmine's thinning things out. Deja vu. We've just been in this base before. Hydra's knocking down, but it looks like they'll survive. The SCVs pop out. Changelings spontaneously combust as they reach the end of their medium-length lives. And what an army. 3 medevacs, like 7 ghosts and a couple liberators. Another liberator, but it doesn't have the vision with the new patch. One of the most ingenious changes, but still dangerous. Clem clearly not acknowledging that. Technically, they could be mining, but a scan would reveal. Clem realizing that not the ideal. Oh, there's a Hydra under there. Not for long. Yeah. Yet again, the base down the center is the target. And yet again, it'll be lifted. And Clem with enough army. There are 18 ghosts. The Spore Crawler will reposition. 11 SCVs dead. Solar has 62 drones to 31 SCVs. And now the key point of this is neither player knows exactly how much supply their opponent has or how much they have in the bank. So from Solar's perspective, he has to keep going. And he might be right about that either way. The Widowmines take big chunks. The Ghosts, the Banelings a little bit late. The Infestors were EMP'd. The Widowmines with big hits on the Banes. The Ghosts will spread. And oh my, I can't believe it's not Butter. They cloak at the last moment, minimizing the damage. He yanks in the Ghost, which just helps him line up the snipes. Takes out the Planetary, but the Banelings are surrounded by Terran. And Solar knocks Clem's supply down to 120, but he plummets to 140 himself. The army value and the army supply is heavily in favor of Clem. And this sort of 300 supply Zerg style is clearly not working out, considering all the numbers on the screen. And they spell disaster for Solar if he can't find that dream engagement soon. And this isn't The Bachelor, but instead, Terran versus Zerg. An Infestor on the way. That one Infestor. One Infestor to rule them all. And from the darkness, unburrow. And hopefully bind them. Because without it, he needs to stop the Ghosts. There's still plenty of medevacs overhead. Solar, the income has drawn very uncomfortably close to even. The Widowmines are taking out more than their fair share of Zerglings. 850 Zerglings. 100 Banes, and whoever knows how many attacked before they outright died. Easily over 1,000 Lings dead in the making of this game. And it's not over. But with the economies getting this low, the first 3-4 bases are mined out on both sides. And Clem has just abandoned them entirely. There's no reason left to be there. He's got the, all of the engineering bay upgrades. Wait, he didn't get high-sec auto-tracking. Of all things. Oh. Zerg players, cover your eyes. Terrans, put your pants back on. All I saw was the aftermath. $31 Zerglings. 775 minerals. 1 Widowmine. Not a bad trade. Well, a Baneling mine attempted. Unfortunately, it doesn't have a long-range rocket-propelled missile platform underneath. And another mine. Another 18 kills. And the Minecraft gameplay just... You know, if this was truly a Minecraft video, I would have 10 million subscribers by now, because this is some of the best Minecraft I've seen in StarCraft 2. And Solar, well, there's a reason I call him Cyril's stunt. Oh, he lost the Infestor. It's because he plays that kind of technical, late-game swarm style. But he takes a lot more punches. And he gets hurt a lot more in the process. And another wave of Lings and Banes. He's trying to grind through, but Clem has taken the supply lead for maybe the first time in the game. At least the first time so decisively. Solar's running out of Zerglings. He's running out of Banes. He's running out of Clem's base. He has nothing left to fall back to. 2 Gs. And Clem survives game number 1. 84 Widow Mines. 100. The fact he lost half as many Widow Mines as he did Marines. 1,010 Zerglings and at least 110 Banes. Solar lost 70,000 resources to 46. Clem, well, winning the war of attrition. And maybe the next one as well. Solar has had success with that style, but he ran out of money. Which, it's the simplest problem, but it's the most important one. That base, one of our new map pool, just simply there's not enough bases to take. I think it has 1 or 2 less than your average map, at least on each side. And he even had the corners and the gold base. But Clem was able to outlast him. I do have to say, if you're going to go for the Nidus network, don't half-ass it. Full ass it. 2 Nidus networks. Maybe 3. Make sure you can get to the production. We saw a lot of Solar kind of pulling back from the full commitment there. Which, I mean, if you go, it might be trouble. But if you stay, it could be twice as much. So, like, he made 14 lurkers and then canceled half of them. He made 1 Nidus network. He made 1 or 2 infestors. There was never the outright commitment. But he just didn't have the economy to play that sort of style. Which was only apparent after maybe it was already too late. In Clem, now, I know it's not necessarily the favorite style of those. Give Clem his point. Sorry. It's a legitimate strategy. Anyways, Widow Mines. From the very start, I do think this is a reaction to Solar's recent style. Solar's literally thousands of Lings and Banes. Getting the Widow Mines with Drilling Claws so early that the Zergling tax he was paying throughout the entire game was so heavy the whole time. The average kills on the Widow Mines had to be in the double digits. Plenty of them taken out with just a few or even 1, but plenty of them with significantly more than that. So, Clem with game 1. The Solar, not looking particularly close too often, though there were some moments. And this time around, Clem is not going to bother with the idea of Solar taking the 3rd base. I doubt we're going to see the bunker rush again, though I'd be highly amused. Maybe channeling a little bit of hero there with that one. I really don't think that was planned out. That was just a, you know what? Maybe. And honestly, Solar, I think, came out ahead after the bunker rush. It's just not so much so he translated that into a decisive late game advantage, of course. Well, 2 command centers on the way. About as quick as you can get them while still having a factory in production. This isn't
complete.
There's no pervert pillar. There's just a void into the abyss, or the matrix, which I believe is what this map is a reference of. That or the Necrons, but that wouldn't make sense. But wait, no, that's a different game. The blue pill, please. Well, looks like he found his spot. Just significantly further off. The Queens trying to hunt down. Finally, speed is done. Well, not finally. That's about the most standard time at about 3:30. The Zerglings. Hellions coming across. The Zerglings! Well, but wait, there's more! And I think he noticed one group of them, but not all. The Zerglings at the natural. Hellions in an awkward spot. Is he just gonna let him in? I mean... 7 kills? Eh. Wait. Whoa, whoa, whoa! One Zergling! This is the hero link. Hello, Clem! This link has 5 kills! This is the Widowmine of Zerglings! That one Zergling. 5 kills. He had it at 4 or 5, which is perfectly fine. Like, that's a huge commitment out of Solar. Losing 10 SCVs. That was an unexpected and almost inexcusable amount of damage. Especially considering he had the units to defend. So, ye old Zergling Rush. Still more than enough to get the damage done. And Clem... Well, the Queen's on the edges. Solar already at 50-something drones. Continuing to add them on and... Wait, is there cloak? He built one Banshee, no cloak. A naked Banshee. Where is it? Oh, it's just chilling at home. And we'll see. Trying to follow it up here. And a 3 command center Terran is never dead. Each mule worth about 5 workers mining. Give or take, but approximately as it is. So that means the mineral income will be similar as Clem puts together his 5 racks. He's got the reactor on the starport, and he's got his upgrades significantly quicker. So Solar is going to have a solid economic base and plenty of bases to work from. They kind of tie into one another, but there is a potential inflection point here where Clem has the upgrades and the medevacs, and almost no amount of units can counter that. Like, if they have 1-1 Marines with stim and combat shield, then 0-0 Zerglings, even with a full surround, are going to be hard-pressed to actually kill those Marines. So, that is clearly what Clem is working towards now. Meanwhile, Solar, on the other hand, just a whole bunch of roaches. 69 drones. A very nice economy to build up to a big roach timing. And took almost no damage back at home to the Hellions and Reapers because, well, the best defense is a good offense. The Banshee gets a single kill, which is more than nothing, very technically. Certainly not the damage he was hoping for. Meanwhile, this middle base is potentially a strong angle to attack into. Though, yeah, that set of rocks is... This is tank push central, in every sense of the term. I don't think Marines can hit over the top there, but tanks and Liberators very certainly can. Though I doubt roaches have the range either. Another dozen roaches on the way. Solar, clearly focused on this timing. The siege tank is in position. And a nice Zergling counter. There's nothing back at home to defend. Meanwhile, Clem's going forward. Solar with a perfect time. And he just quit. Clem! Come on, Clem. At least pretend. I mean, I get it. Solar kind of does the same thing in his series sometimes, but especially against Hero, but like, he's gonna lose. I get it. I get it, but I don't like it. So, here's the scenario. He's going to lose another 10 SCVs, and he's not going to break this. He knows he's not going to break this. Even with 2 tanks and the Marines. Oh, you gotta fight it. He knows that's a 4th base, and he's losing his 3rd. Still, just 30 seconds. Just make a show of it, okay? And that's a hard red from me. That's not a... Well, okay. No, just... And we're all tied up. Yeah, it's definitely one of those games where you're like, nothing has gone right, and it's going to continue that way. Left the whole time, but... You gotta fight it out. You gotta at least target the tanks and not get it up there. I get it. You're out of line. You're right, but you're out of line. Winter Madness. Also the map name. Well, there is an argument to be made about leaving the moment. Like, Clem knows better than possibly anyone in the world, even up to and including Cyril, when he's beat. Alright? Now, when you play not Zerg, I think it's a little bit easier, because Zerg is all about getting punched in the face and maybe surviving long enough without too much brain damage, so that way you can fight back. With the odd exception of a Zerg Rush. But Clem, as the #1 Terran and arguably one of the best Protoss, is very, very, very knowledgeable about how the game's going to go in the high percentage plays. If this had been a tournament... Now, the Pigosaurus Cup is prestigious, okay? With two of the most important things. Two of the most important animals. Pig, Australian, and 2, Stegosaurus, the organization / the dinosaur. Yes, it's a big deal. Hundreds of dollars on the line. But this is probably the 3rd or 4th tournament they've both played today, because most Mondays include 3 or 4 weekly tournaments. So that's the rationale. It's still a red card. It's still a, give it 30 more seconds, Clem. Come on. And it's still a, I feel like I've dragged out talking about this enough. But it's certainly, that was certainly not so much a, it's just I want to get to the next game. All right? It's not working. I'm probably going to lose. I'm almost certainly going to lose. I know where this goes. Let's go to the next one. And it's almost like an anti-tilt GG. Still don't approve. All right. Reaper goes in. And the Zergling's a little on the later side here. The drone just not bothering with the extractor, knowing Clem's going to dodge it. Playing ring around the hatchery, and gets into the extractor. Clever girl. Queen pops out. Gets the cancels, and I'm just going to go for the... He's not even going to bomb. He's going for the inject first with the energy. As that Reaper far too... Don't give him the satisfaction. All right, does not deserve it. I agree. Oh, the Queens. Not able to outflank for obvious reasons. Churlish! Insubordinate! You get back here, young man! Brenda. He's not that young. Well, he's younger than me. He's younger than the war! Oh. He didn't have to say it like that. Sorry. Blacked out for a moment. The Hellions? Oh my. Will run by. And Solar did go for the slower speed this time around. But the Queen? Really? Just plays. Gives him the full world tour. Or the hatchery tour at least. Comes in, comes out. And only takes a few scrapes on one of the Hellions. Solar cut a few corners here. He went for the later Zergling speed, and he may regret that. Oh my. Gets the bounce. Queen, there's almost enough energy for a transfuse, and... Third command center is significantly... Is there going to be an armory? What is this? Significantly later 3rd CC from Clem. The Zerglings showing up. We have speed now! been watching too much Hero. He individually patrol pathed all these, by the way. This is not like he selected each Zergling to do this. Which is probably better against like a Hellion run by, but let's not pretend there's a practical purpose to that. Meanwhile, the Banshee Cloak. Double engineering bay. Quite a quick timing for Clem. He's angling for a much stronger timing attack here. This may be what he was trying to accomplish last game, but he was so rudely interrupted. As the third base is a little bit later, and he gets his barracks and his 1-1 started. Oh, a Mutalisk den. A Spire is on the way, but the Hellions just darting in. The Queen's tanking the hits. And the transfuses are good. Trying to kite back with the Banshee's. Gonna find a couple more kills. Every drone anywhere close. He cleaned up the Hellions. And the Banshees will get away with murder yet again. In fact, gonna take out both creep tumors. And the Queens. Clem. Just edging the creep there. But no satisfaction for the Queens this time around. The Spire is on the way. He's leaning into the Mutalisks, but it's a massive Muta risk at this stage. As Clem is going to have 1-1, and he has those barracks quite quickly. More quickly than usual, I would say. And he's already moving out before 7 minutes. And even though these are pretty well-timed mutas, he's going to have 8 potential mutas? Is he just saving for the upgrades? He's making sure not to spend so much that... Oh, I take it back. He just builds a bunch of Banes. He's like, oh, wait a second. This is really serious. The Banshees will be repaired. A single SCV. Siege tank. And here we go. This seems to be what Clem was intent on last game. Let's see if he gets a little bit more time. The Frenchman sniping off the Queens. Another revolutionary tactic. And knocks down my voice and a Muta. As there's just not enough on the ground. Baneling speed is not done. That makes it target practice. Oh no. The Queens are dead. The Mutas will eventually be enough, maybe? The reinforcements are on the way. The Banshees hey, come back. Come back here. We're not done yet. The SCV's still queued up trying to repair. He just gives up. The Banshees will cloak. And should be taken out in a moment. He gets just enough to take them down. The Zerglings, we're brawling it out here on the ground. But the Zerglings are whittled down so quickly. Transfuses a Muta. Going to retreat into the medevac. Knocks down the medevac, the tank, then the tank a few more hits. And for now, the Mutas will be enough. Clem trying to keep the momentum up with the upgrades with the Marines. And if he can keep the Muta count low, the Marines will hit a critical mass that much more quickly. And he just started his 2-2 upgrades. But Solar, as he so often does, survives. And that was his most important job. He needed to keep that 4th base and as many Mutas alive as possible. And he managed to do both. He ended up losing 4 of them, but it could have been so much worse. He wasn't intimidated by the attack, though maybe jumped the gun just a little with the early Banes. But now with double-digit Mutalisks. Gonna chase down the medevac. It's gonna cost him a Muta himself to the missile turret. And the production. Not enough missile turrets in the main. He doesn't want to invest in turrets when he could have Marines, but unfortunately, it's gonna cost him even more. 81 SCVs. Wait, no, drones. I don't know why I thought it was 80. Oh no, the Marines! In position, now the Mutas are pinned back. The Marines not gonna keep them held there, at least for now, and Solar is looking for a transit. He's got an infestation pit on the way. He's got another base. The creep spread looking pretty good, considering how much effort Clem put into dealing with it earlier. The Mutas are gonna be chased down. Thor is in production. Drilling claws is completed for the mines, which makes them quite a threat to this composition, of course. Solar actually behind on supply, especially in army. He's really trying to he's trying to split off individual lings to deal with the Widowmons, and there's enough Marines to cover for it. Oh, the Thor stacking up the damage, knocks down another Muta. And there's no other attack. It's Lingbane Muta. Clem, this is his wheelhouse right here. Solar needs to do something soon. Even if he gets Hive, Clem's about to have 2-2 done. That Thor holding it down. No! Oh my! Oh. Doesn't even need the Marines. The Widow Mines destroying 50 Zerglings. The Muta's trying to get into the natural. They will do so. Some of the reinforcements with the Banelings are easily taken out, and the Terran army is tearing through. The Marines just lean into the Banes, but the Mutas are sliced out of the sky, and the ground army is not nearly enough. And Solar, despite a pretty good start, feels like Clem more than prepared. The Clempire strikes back. It's a solid try on the Mutas. But, that's the issue. You really need, against a player like Clem, who has no equal, but you can't play an even money game with Mutas. They're just not good enough. They're just not. Even with perfect micro, once you get to 200 supply, there's only so much you can do. The Mutas need to get a lead, so that way you can overwhelm them with a superior economy. Your fighting army is not good. It's not good enough. Let's put it that way. Against the Terran army, which is all in the fight, and the Mutas, which have to kind of skirt around the edges, he's just not going to take enough damage to the Banes. Solar doing the 15 hatch. Does he get any drones before it? No. Oh, one more. Interesting. Run Tourmaline, which I believe made it through onto the new ladder map pool. I think all of these maps. We may be on the new ladder map pool now. 9 new maps. The entire map pool has been shifted for the first time in, like, this decade, I think. And with a quick turnover time. So I want to say, shout out to the intern. And however that works, but for the first time in, well, years, we got a patch from Blizzard. Now, you may like it or not like it, or... So that with no it's still blowing my mind, all right? That we got a full patch, PTR, put on the server, no explanation. It's like ghosts, now light units, Banelings, plus 5 HP with speed, stuff like this. No explanation. No, we want ghosts to be better or worse. We want Banelings to be better or worse. Nothing. Not a single word that people could use and twist and say, wrong. Which I think was the point, but still. Not even a, welcome back. This is actually Blizzard, not the Balance Council. And also, then there was a hotfix, implying things needed to be fixed, where Storm was adjusted to be what it is now. A little more damage. A little less duration than the original iteration, and Ghosts got their 25 extra HP. Plus that, a whole bunch of bug fixes as well. Not just knocking Zerg out of the game, but a whole bunch of technical bug fixes that have gone unchecked for years. All of that without a single line of commentary about, this is Blizzard, a multi-billion-dollar company, and we're paying attention to one of our flagship IPs. At least at one time was. Besides, we're going to sell it to some gacha game company. Looking forward to StarCraft 3. Make sure to buy your packs today with promo code Get your extra minerals in order to make your Marine shoot an extra... I don't know how these games work. I have enough idea. But where was I? And then after that, we have the map contest. We have the map contest, including a guarantee that some of the maps from the map contest will be in the new ladder map pool. And then, with the start of the season, for the first time in like this decade, we had the map switch over. All of them, including some of the team game maps as well. So clearly, there's someone, the intern is no longer part-time, but they might actually be full-time, or at least more part-time. But we still have no commentary on exactly what's going on, or why, which is probably better than nothing. I do wonder when if we'll see another patch, if it's needed. Because remember, there was no explanation, like, we want to buff Terran or Zerg or Protoss, we want to focus on this. Just nothing. Just here are the changes. Just raw dogging patch notes. So, just like Clem raw dogging his Hellions right into the main with absolutely no hesitation. Lines up the drones. Queen's playing keep away. So that's crazy. And interesting and also crazy. All at the same time. It can be both things. We can multitask. This is StarCraft. You can like and subscribe and pay some attention to the early game. But yeah. So that's where we are. That's it. That's all I got. That's the whole bit. Not even a bit. Just kind of a... That's the state of the game right now. I'll make a dramatic video with a mostly sensationalist, yet still accurate title. If something dramatic changes that you need to know. Otherwise, I'll just slip it in at game number 4 or 5, the end of a series, or near it. When people are either tuned out and barely paying attention and just hearing it in the background, or tuned in entirely. So, shout out to both of you. The only one of you will hear it. You're breathtaking. Smash that hype button, bro. Which I think is only on, like, iPhone right now. You guys have phones. Meanwhile. Alright. Brenda! We need to deal with this! What was that? Marie! Let them eat creep. What does that even mean, Marie? I don't know, but it's provocative. It gets the people going. All right, sorry, blanked out for a moment. But 1-1 is on the way. Quite a hectic early game for Solar. A little bit less so for Clem as he keeps shaving off the edges of the Zerg. He's knocked out 7 drones, 2 queens, gotten an Overlord, lost a few Hellions and a Reaper. So, dramatic yet not deadly. It is a beautiful, like, we got quite a spread of maps in the new pool. All sorts of different planets and space stations to murder each other and by the dozen or 100 on. A lot of different tile sets we're working with. Literally, we went from White Rabbit, which is the Matrix, to Winter Madness, which has literal snow. But, for now, the only thing dropping the Marines as another couple, 3 queens, 2 queens. Zergling counter. Gonna get a couple Marines, but Clem will not be rage quitting out of this one. Technically, he didn't rage quit, he GG, but there was some rage there. Alright, let's be honest. One is done. Combat shield. Finishing up. And Clem has kept the pressure on, but Solar, as always, has withstood it. And he's at 75 drones. He's got 4 bases. Not sure where you go for a 5th base. There's one all the way in the bottom right corner. Double drop loads up. Solar, try to take the base at the 12 o'clock, but that seems optimistic. And the Banshees are back! The Queens do have detection. Banshees Gonna pull away at the last moment. Guns down the first Hydra. Widowmine splashes over the Queens. The Marines, where's... Boys, where's my evac? The double drop on the other side, though, and Clem dropping the ball on both sides. And a slight reprieve for Solar. He knocks out both medevacs. He knocks out both Banshees. But the attack at the 4th is still dangerous. Dodges the Widowmine hits. There's no creep outside this base. The mines hit again. Single Hellbat will clean up some. But Clem? Well, Solar's actually behind on supply with Hydraling Bane, which is not ideal. It's not the end of the world if he's able to get a good fight, but Clem dodging off the creep against Hydras without speed is going to decrease the likelihood of that happening. Well, working towards the main. And dropping out the triple. This is a risky maneuver for Clem. He's splitting off his medevacs, trying to divide and conquer. But any split of this could easily be crushed by even a fraction of the Hydraling Bane. And he's trying to keep the creep back while also anchoring enough of the army back at home. And so far, Solar is obligated to stay on defense for the most part. And most importantly, he doesn't have an infestation pit. He doesn't have a lurker den. He doesn't have any further tech. Clem is still working towards 2-2. He's got his 4th command center with a planetary fortress down the center. And that's certainly not going to make it easier for the Hydras to attack in. Oh no! Hydras. Mass Banelings. Just using all his gas, dragging the Widowmines, and the Marines and medevacs will take the brunt of that attack. Meanwhile, on the other side, unfortunately, the Hydras looks like just enough to deal with the critical mass of Marines. So we're really trying to keep the pressure on Clem here, but the high ground working out for him. +2 infantry weapons and armor now completing. Drags the mine, and the medevacs are almost taken down by the Widowmines themselves. One more mine in the right spot will take down 4 or 5 medevacs simultaneously. Might be his best chance to do so. The double drop in the back. It's raining men. Oh! It happened. Let me see. Get right. The drop in the back distracting most of the players. Oh. Well, that also. Everyone exploded. But it wasn't the Widowmine. It was just the Banelings themselves. And he cleans up the attack at the back, and Clem starting to lose his grip on the map right now, as the constant pressure from Solar has made it difficult to get a cost-effective fight that he doesn't risk losing half his army to Banelings. Though, look at the supply. The drop's coming out. He might knock down another one, but somehow Clem is still ahead on supply. There is no follow-up. There is no transition. He must do, or he will die. Well, the Banelings are rolling in. The SCVs are very late on rolling away. And many of them will die to the Banes, but he's just right-clicked past. The Widowmines will burrow at the ramp. He goes into the natural. The Banelings make it all the way by. 30 SCVs dead. And the Widowmines, they're recharging. He lost his Overseers. But still 30 SCVs. 3-3's on the way. Oh, he's gunning down more. The massacre. Solar almost drags it back, but Clem holds. So, despite the decisively poor timing on the GG, unsporting at that moment, but more than sporting enough to take it 3 games out of 4. Clem with a decisive victory, proving he can still hang with Solar and maybe give him enough rope. So, hopefully you enjoyed as much as I did. A good old-fashioned brawl of a Terran versus Zerg, though it's not too surprising the outcome. The Clempire once again looking too big to fail. That's enough dramatic commentary. Thank you for watching. If you have the means of motivation, be awesome to check out Patreon or YouTube membership. But I hear liking and subscribing, hyping is still free, at least for now. And thank you to our mule tier patrons bringing in the extra minerals: Big Jiggy, Devin, Dordrak, Kate, Mario. So glad you still enjoy. And everyone, thank you for watching. I hope I made your day just a little bit better. I hope to see you next time. Make sure to check this video out. It's great right here. Good luck, have fun. Thank you for watching. Stay chill.
Hell, it's about